Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Gouhin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about designing your ideal workday. So this episode is for those of you who maybe set good intentions the night before, set good intentions in the morning, and then somehow find by the end of that day, you've not accomplished anything that you set out to do. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like my workday can have a tendency to be a bit chaotic and unfocused if I'm not super intentional with my time. Because as an artist, a coach, and a podcaster, balancing creativity with productivity can really feel tricky sometimes. And I know the same is true for many of you who are full-time entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, those of you with a side hustle, those just starting out in business, or those who work from home. But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. Trust me, with a little structure and creativity, you can turn your chaotic and unfocused days into days where you remain intentional and in charge. So the first step is understanding your unique rhythm. And what I mean by that is knowing when you're most inspired and productive, because it can help you not only plan accordingly, but also set you up for success. Start by asking yourself, when do you feel most energized and full of ideas? Some of you might be morning people who jump right out of bed with a brain full of plans. Others might be night owls, finding your creativity when the world is very quiet and still. Then maybe some of you are midday warriors and you hit your stride in the afternoon. So if you're not quite certain, I would suggest that you take a week to track your energy levels and your productivity. You can grab a journal or use an app to note when you feel most creative and energized, as well as when you're dragging and distracted. And over time, you'll notice that patterns will emerge. Personally, I found my creative sweet spot is generally in the morning, right after my first cup of coffee. It can also be while I'm out on a walk, or even sometimes later in the evening after the sun has set. And everyone's different. So once you know when you're at your best, you can think about setting some intentions when you're planning your day. What do you want to achieve today? What are your big picture goals for the week or the month? And start each day by setting clear, intentional goals, not just to-do lists, but meaningful milestones that will align with your larger vision. So for example, if you're working on a new art project, your goal might be to brainstorm ideas today, sketch a few concepts tomorrow, and then start on the final piece by the end of the week. Here's a little exercise. Every morning, write down 3 main goals for the day that will move you closer to your long-term vision. This will keep you focused and intentional about how you spend your time. And I know you know this, but remember, it's about progress, not perfection. And when you understand your unique rhythm and set clear intentions, you're already on your way to creating a day that's as productive as it is creative. So let's move on to designing your workday framework. Once you have a handle on when you're most productive and you've set your goals, then it's time to design your workday for maximum creativity and efficiency. And here's how you can do it. Start with building a flexible yet structured daily schedule. I don't want you rigidly planning every minute, but rather creating a framework that will allow for both focused work and spontaneous creativity. So begin by blocking out your peak creative hours for your most important and creative tasks. For instance, if you're most creative in the morning, dedicate that time to writing, designing, brainstorming, and keep this time sacred and free from interruptions. Then identify the times when your energy naturally dips and use these time periods for administrative tasks like emails or meetings, things that don't require as much creative energy. And don't forget to schedule breaks, because regular breaks can actually boost your creativity and productivity. So give yourself permission to step away and recharge. I often do this when I've noticed that I've been at my computer for hours. So then I might get up and go for a walk just to shift my energy, or I might start a new painting or continue on one that I've already started, again, just to shift my energy to something more creative. So ask yourself, what kind of a break would be best for you? It could even be a 20-minute nap. And now let's talk about prioritization, because it's easy to get overwhelmed with a long list of to-do items. But the key is to focus on what truly matters. One effective technique that I want to share that works for me, it's called the Eisenhower Matrix. It helps you categorize your tasks and your goals by urgency and importance. So for example, if your goal or what you have to do is urgent and important, do these tasks first. If it's important but not urgent, schedule these tasks for later. If it's urgent but not important, see if you can delegate these tasks. If it's not urgent and not important, consider if these tasks even need to be done at all. This approach will ensure that you're not just busy, but productive and working on things that align with your goals and will make a real impact. Here's a quick example. Let's say you're maybe preparing for a workshop or some kind of a presentation. Maybe you're giving a speech. Creating your slides might be both urgent and important. So tackle them first thing in the morning. Planning your next marketing campaign, that might be important, but not as urgent. So maybe schedule that for time in the afternoon or later the next day. Answering routine emails could be urgent, but not important. So handle those during your low energy times. By creating a flexible framework and mastering the art of prioritization, you can really design a workday that not only boosts your productivity, but also leaves room for creativity and inspiration. The final step is to be intentional with your day and to get really specific. So we want to talk about those generalizations from your framework that we just talked about, and now get more specific and time block, because it's very effective when you allocate specific blocks of time for different tasks or activities. It helps you to stay focused, and it ensures that you dedicate sufficient time to your most important items. So here's an example of how to tailor time blocking to fit a creative workday. Identify your core goals and list out the main tasks that you need to complete each day. This could include creative work, administrative work, meetings, and your breaks. Allocate specific blocks of time for each goal. For example, block out 9 to 11 for creative work, 11 to 12 for administrative tasks, 1 to 3 for meetings, and 3 to 4 for follow-up and email. But be flexible because life happens and sometimes you'll need to adjust your schedule, and that's okay. The goal is to have a structured plan in place that will guide your day. It can be adaptable, but just having that plan in place first thing will really be beneficial. And remember, schedule breaks, schedule regular breaks so that you avoid burnout and keep creativity flowing. Even if it's just a 10-minute break every hour, it can really do wonders for your focus and your energy levels. And by break, I don't mean scrolling or comparing and despairing on your phone. So for example, let's say you're a writer. You could block out 8 to 10 a.m. for writing new content, 10 to 10:30 for a break, 10:30 to 11:30 for editing, and 11:30 to 12 for emails. This structured approach will help you stay on task, and it will ensure that you're making progress in your most productive hours. And finally, let's talk about some common challenges that might come up and learn how to stay on track and motivated. Because obviously distractions and procrastination will come up. We all face distractions and procrastination from time to time, but there are ways to manage them. So identify your distractions. That's the first step, is to recognize what's pulling your attention away. Is it social media? Is it email notifications? Perhaps it's stuff to do around the house. Once you know your distractions, you can tackle them head on. Also, you'll want to create a dedicated workspace and set clear boundaries. I used to work most of the time at my kitchen counter. I don't know why. It's a very light and bright space, and I would work down there, but I would really find myself being distracted throughout the day, not only thinking about what do I want to make for dinner, but just looking around. If something was messy, I'd feel the need to go straighten it up. So now I have a dedicated workspace in my studio that allows me to focus on my work on my computer. And yet if I need a break, I can easily get up and start working on a painting because I'm right there. So again, create a dedicated workspace. And as I said, also set clear boundaries. And what I mean by that is to let your family, if you work at home, or your coworkers, know your working hours so that you minimize any interruptions. Put on noise canceling headphones if you have to. Another thing I would suggest is to close out your email tab so you're not constantly tempted to check it. And you also might want to keep your phone in another room during certain times if you're always finding yourself distracted with picking it up and checking things on your phone. Maintaining motivation can certainly be challenging. I get it, especially on days when your inspiration feels low. So here are some ways to keep your motivation high. Break your goals into smaller, manageable goals. Because when you complete these little mini goals, it provides you with a sense of accomplishment, and it will help you keep motivated to tackle the next one and the next one and the next one. Also, set up a reward system for yourself, because small rewards can really boost your morale and make your work more enjoyable. Surround yourself with things that inspire you, because sometimes a quick change of scenery or a dose of inspiration is all you need to get back on track. And so you could try working in a cafe, or you can go into the office on days that you normally wouldn't. If you have, I forget what they're called, but like community working spaces where you can go to another space. It's like a co-working space. If that's available to you, then maybe you want to try that. And take a few moments throughout your day just to practice mindfulness. Simply pause, take a few deep breaths, and bring your attention to the present moment. It will help to clear your mind and reduce your stress. And there you have it. You've just created your ideal workday. And remember, it's not just so that you can get more done. It's about making space for your best ideas to flourish. And by understanding your unique rhythm, designing a flexible schedule, using time blocking, and being aware of some common challenges, you can really create a workday that's both productive and inspiring. It's about balance and finding what works best for you. So I challenge you to experiment with these tips. Let me know if your creativity and your productivity reach new levels. That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.